yeah, I just put on a lightweight jacket. So over the past 3 weeks or so, the temperature has dropped from the low 90s, upper 80s, all the way down to the 60s, which is fantastic because fall and cooler weather is here. So if you're coming across me for the first time, my name is Barrett. I'm an American living and working in Tokyo, and I make videos about my life, I guess. So if that might be of interest to you, feel free to subscribe, and I really appreciate that. So today I just wanted to talk about how Tokyo's been more recently. In spring of this year, we went into a semi-lockdown, kind of a hard ask of please refrain from going out. I've been working at home primarily since then. More recently, I've been going to the office maybe once or twice a week, depending on what I have to do. I work in marketing. Sometimes there are collaborations and team working things that we do have to do. So it really depends, but primarily still at home. Over the past few weeks or month and a half or so, I've been going out a little bit and noticed that the streets are getting more crowded. It's not nearly 100% like how it was before, and there are almost no tourists around. But it's people are starting to come out of their homes and eat out maybe a little bit, go shopping a little bit. Over the past few months or so, a lot of the restaurants, cafes, eateries, fashion stores, and shopping malls have been working and operating on an adjusted hour schedule. So they're open for a shorter period of time and they close earlier. And a lot of people were working at home, not everybody, but a lot were, at least kind of a hybrid, half at home, half in the office type of thing. But I think people are starting to come out a little bit more. So I took my camera around with me to a few places and I just kind of wanted to show you what I've been seeing. So yeah, here we go. So the first place I went to was teamLab Borderless. I got to go for work. I've been to a teamLab production before, but it was my first time to Borderless. Needless to say, it was amazing, just really impressive. If you don't know what Borderless is, it's an immersive digital world in the Odaiba area of Tokyo. It's one of the top destinations for visitors, and so it can get really crowded. Luckily, we were there towards the end of the day and then after it was closed to the public. But even when it was open, there weren't a lot of people. We were with one of the teamLab people who was involved in creating Borderless, and just to hear how the concepts came together, learning about how the algorithms and technology involved worked, and just to see how much cooling and equipment maintenance is needed to run something like this is just impressive. I just have a lot of admiration for the people involved in this. So they were using a touchless entry system, a temperature scanner at the entrance. There was a strict people limit, so it felt pretty safe, and if you're in the country, it's a pretty good time to go. Okay, now to more typical places. I went to Shinjuku and, well, Shinjuku was pretty crowded. It is one of the main downtowns of Tokyo and it has the busiest train station in the world, so it's kind of hard to expect anything else. But I went to Shinjuku a few months ago and it was pretty dead. So compared to that, it is, really bustling. It definitely isn't at 100%, but things looked pretty normal. So seeing all of this, it just feels a little bit strange, especially when watching the news and hearing what's going on in other countries. Cases in Tokyo are pretty steady at the moment. Recently, it's been about 100 to 300 new cases per day. So there's no mass testing going on, and there was never, but there's actually a decrease in deaths in Japan, apparently. So each year for the past 10 years, the number of deaths have been steadily increasing, except for this year. In a report that showed the deaths this year from January until July, the number of deaths have gone down 18,000 compared to last year. And the biggest decrease was in respiratory related deaths. So I'm no doctor or scientist or anything, but it just seems really odd, especially when looking at what's going on globally. We also went to the Aoyama, Omotesando, and Harajuku area. Aoyama is a higher end area. It's definitely not as busy as Shinjuku, but it's home to a lot of nice cafes and high-end luxury retail shops. But even on the weekend, people were out and about. As we made our way up through Omotesando, it started to get a lot more crowded, but not nearly as crowded as when all the tourists are here. And to be very honest, it is super nice not having the sidewalks and streets jam-packed with tourists. As you can see, most people are wearing masks even outside. According to a report, 83.6% of people in Japan wear masks during close-range conversations with others, and 87% wash their hands when returning home. It's not 100%, and not everybody wants to wear masks or feels comfortable wearing masks, and there are a few people that are going against it, but by and large, everyone is wearing masks, so there's no real big issue with that here. All around, I didn't see many shops that were permanently closed or anything. Some have operated on adjusted hours and maybe even closed temporarily, but I didn't notice any more abandoned buildings than how it was before the pandemic hit. There does seem to be less people actually shopping in stores though, so we'll see what kind of effect that has down the line. Hopefully not too big. There has been an uptick in online shopping in Japan, just like in many other countries around the world, but we'll see what this means. The new IKEA in Harajuku though, that was pretty packed with shoppers, as you can see. So I went to Ginza most recently to go to the Corona building. Just kidding. But Ginza is a historically significant part of Tokyo and is an area known for high-end fashion and luxury. Despite the rain, there are people out and about here as well. Usually there are more tourists though. And speaking of travel, the Japanese government is trying to incentivize domestic travel around Japan. They're currently running a campaign called Go To Travel. It's basically a $12 billion US package that gives travelers up to 50% off hotels, flights, trains, etc. for domestic travel. At first, Tokyo and its residents were kind of kept out of this because we had the highest number of cases. Not the highest infection rate, but the highest number of cases because Tokyo is by far the biggest city in the country. But anyways, we're now included, so residents in other prefectures can visit Tokyo, and Tokyo residents like me can take advantage of Go To Travel and travel around domestically. Even though I would like the option to travel abroad, I kind of take this as a sign to explore Japan a little bit more. So I got a few trips lined up, taking advantage of Go To Travel. So I hope to make videos and take some pictures of that, so stay tuned. So that's pretty much it from me today. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. If you have a question or anything, feel free to ask in the section below and I'll try to get back to you with the best answer possible. But there's a good chance that I don't know the answer, but I'll give it a shot. I do have links in the description as well that are related. So if you are interested in more about living in Japan or just where to go in Japan once things do get better and you are in the area, I do have links in the description, so check that out. But otherwise, I hope to see you in the next one. Right? Okay, see you in the next one. Laters.